Okay, the time is now 9 a.m. The date is August 3rd, 2021. We will call to order the meeting for the City Council for the City of Statesboro. We will have our invocation and pledge of allegiance by Mayor Pro Tem Paulette Chambers.
Let us bow our heads. Father God, we thank you for being here today. And we ask that you would lead and guide us with your infinite wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Make us compassionate towards others, God. And I ask that for your protection upon all the residents of Statesboro, all the residents of Bullitt County, and all the residents of the United States. And Lord, I set up a special prayer for Councilwoman Mack and her daughter, and I ask for a speedy recovery of healing, long life, and prosperity. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll move down to agenda item 3, public comments. Leah, do we have any public comments?
No, Mayor.
Okay. We'll move down to agenda item 4, consideration of a motion to approve the consent agenda. The consent agenda includes the council minutes and executive session minutes from our July 20th meeting. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, we'll move down to agenda item 5, public hearing and consideration of a motion to approve the application for an alcohol license, section 6-5, for section A for Cracker Barrel Old Country Store, doing business as Cracker Barrel number 685 at 216 Henry Boulevard, Statesboro, Georgia 30458. The owner is Cracker Barrel Old Country Store Incorporated. Is there a motion to open the public hearing?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Planning and zoning, are there any issues? Okay. Fire inspection?
No issue.
Okay. Police?
No issues, Mayor.
All right. City attorney?
No issues, Mayor.
All right. Is there anyone here that wants to speak for this request? Is there anyone here that wants to speak against this request? Okay. All right, we'll move to asking for a motion to close the hearing. Is there a motion to do so?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. We'll move down to council discussion. Any discussion on council? All right, seeing that there's no
I didn't know
discussion.
Cracker Barrel served beer.
It's a new business model.
I don't know that I've ever seen one.
It's a new business model.
Okay.
They start.
Beer and breakfast, sounds good.
And pancakes.
All right, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, we move down to agenda item 5B, snow la for 8 South Main Street, Statesboro, Georgia 30458, owner Annie Natson. Is there a motion to open the public hearing?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. All right, planning and zoning,
No.
okay. Fire inspection,
No issue.
police,
I'd like to address the council if I could on this matter.
okay.
Mayor and council, thanks for indulging me for just a minute. This is just outside the business model of what we've seen before, and I would hope that as a council, you would have a conversation with the owner about what the real intentions of this business are. You know, you guys went through some real pains a couple of years ago to establish kind of a more specific list of licenses for alcohol bars as opposed to pubs and restaurants and those kind of things. Having alcohol served at a shaved ice shed doesn't really seem to fit into that mold, and I just want to make sure that you are all well informed of what the business model and plan is there before you pass this. Some specific concerns I would ask you to be considerate of. Shaved ice hut attracts small children. I'm not sure where the dispensing area for the alcohol would be relative to where the children would be. I'm not sure how you take I'm guessing an alcohol-infused icy away from the location and not have an open container violation, or how we would have any hope of trying to enforce those kinds of rules. And so there's just a lot of issues that I don't understand about the business model that I hope that you'll have a conversation with the owner about it and make sure that it's a good decision moving forward for the city.
Thank you. City Attorney?
Mayor and Council, I would like to, I do second Chief's concerns. Furthermore, I would, to address the question of removing the beverages, there's no way that the beverage could be removed from there and it not be an open container violation. Even with the state's new to-go cocktails law, it wouldn't be applicable here because there's not a prepared meal served alongside with it. So there's just the question of the open container issues there. And under 613D, y'all are allowed to impose conditions on licenses. And if y'all are to approve this license, I would recommend there at least be a condition that any snow cone served that is alcoholic be served in a different color cup at a minimum. And whatever other conditions y'all deem fit and proper under these circumstances.
Thank you. All right, is there anyone here to speak for the request?
We are. Good morning,
Good
Council.
morning.
Good morning. We are honored to be here, and I'd like to thank you all for giving the time for allowing us to speak on our motion to serve alcohol. Myself, Annie, or my wife, Annie Natz, and myself, Jonathan Natz, are both military veterans that served our country honorably. We also, we came up with the idea of a New Orleans style snowball stand in regards to bring something new to the city of Statesboro. There are now 2 snowball stands here in Statesboro. We kind of started our planning phase at the same time. But we just wanted to bring something different to families, children, and to bring, families together for the most part. And we have done quite well here since we opened our doors here in Statesboro. Statesboro has received us well. We're very appreciative of Statesboro. But we're looking to shift, just add another menu item to our menu. And if you can, my wife will kind of explain more in detail on what we're looking to do with that.
So we do have a shaved ice business. It's not a shaved ice shed. And one of the concerns of the attorney was that the containers could possibly be open. The containers will not be open. There will be sealed containers, and we will do so by putting them in a styrofoam cup with a lid with a piece of tape over the top. So the containers will most definitely be sealed. It will not be an open container. And being that it will have a lid and a piece of tape, it will be considered sealed. The other thing that he mentioned was serving it in a different cup. Most definitely. We do plan to do that. We also are planning to serve a very small amount of alcohol in our shaved ice. It's new to Statesboro, it's new to Georgia, but this is something, I'm from Louisiana, this is something that we do there. This is a menu item that's served at restaurants, at snowball establishments. It's not unfamiliar to me, but I do understand that it could be a cause for concern if you were never exposed to it. The second thing we wanted to mention is that the concern about the children. So we are open till 9. We do plan to expand our hours a little later, and we will not serve this all day. It will only be certain hours of the day. We looked at our statistics, we looked at what we're serving, the time of day we're serving it, and the crowds that we're attracting. We looked at that, and during the day, before 6 is when we serve our children and our families the most. And then those numbers kind of taper off and decline towards the end of the night, and that's when we see our 21-year-old and older population come to our establishment. We do have a business plan, we do have a business model that we will be happy to share with you all so you can see exactly how we plan to leverage our business. We are a business, yes, we have children coming to our establishment, but at the end of the day, we're still a business and we still want to thrive and survive.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Is there anyone here to speak against the request?
in City Council. I'm Joyce Stubbs, and I'm representing the Bullock Alcohol and Drug Council. And one of our main focuses is underage drinking. And so we are very much opposed to something that is normally associated with kids, to be serving alcohol. So I agree with the chief and his comments, and that's our stand on having alcohol at a snow-cone stand.
Thank you.
All right. Anyone else to speak for or against? All right, seeing that there is none, is there a motion to close the hearing?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, we're gonna open it up for council discussion. Any discussion by council?
I would like to say, the business model, which I'm sure is above board, good and profitable and good for the city. I'd like to see it before we vote on it. I hate to put it off for 2 weeks, but if we have to vote today, which is, I understand, I'm just 1 out of 5. I have to vote against it until I've seen the business model.
Okay. Thank you. Any further discussion by council?
And what hours of the day will you be serving the alcohol? You said after 6 is when you would serve
Yes, ma'am.
alcoholic beverages after 6.
So it'll be after 6, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
I'd like to ask Mr. Mayor to have our attorney address what we've heard about open container. Tell us more.
The business model that they discussed is not possible under Statesboro Code of Ordinances. The low volume license is an on-premises consumption license. Under 6.8D, removal of beverages is prohibited, and all beverages sold by consumption on the premises shall be consumed only on the licensed premises. So the idea of whether it's sealed or not is irrelevant. Under this type of license, they cannot be removed. And furthermore, as I stated earlier, even the state's new cocktails to go law does not apply here, because that has to be accompanied by a prepared meal. So no alcohol served on the premises can leave. No matter how it's sealed or how it's served, it cannot leave. It cannot be brought onto any public streets, public or semi-public parking lot, sidewalks, or right-of-way of the city. So just want to put that out there. Otherwise, it would be an open container violation immediately, and also it would be about the removal of the beverages would be occurring, and that would be a violation on the licensee.
So if someone comes up and buys the sealed container with alcohol in it, they could immediately be arrested. They are violating the law the second they walk away.
As soon as they leave the immediate area of the licensed premises, like if they took it from the window to the outside seating area, then that would be okay. But if it goes anywhere else, yes, it would be an open container violation.
Even when it's sealed?
Yes, because you simply cannot remove alcoholic beverages from on premises.
Alcohol deliveries, we have not allowed that, so that's considered, takeaway, delivery, they're both the same thing, so.
Right.
And this is a low volume license they're looking for?
That's correct.
So is it the state of Georgia, or is it what we didn't approve all of it, that they could only do it with a meal takeaway?
Even if we did allow to-go beverages under the state law, it wouldn't be applicable here because of the requirement that it be accompanied by a prepared meal. It's not like, even in jurisdictions where it's allowed under the new state law, you can't just go get a drink from there and leave. It has to be with a meal.
Okay. So if they're serving it here, it has to be consumed on the premises, and that's Georgia law, that's not Statesboro law necessarily.
It's a little of both. I mean, because Georgia law only allows the removal under that one limited circumstance with a prepared meal. However, our ordinance outlaws it entirely. We haven't adapted our ordinance to reflect state law, but even if we did, like I said, it just wouldn't apply.
Okay. Ms. Hassan?
We do serve
Don't
meals.
get the comment.
So firstly, we do have an outside seating area with ample space. I don't know if you all have visited our establishment yet, but we do have outside seating areas. And then the container, that's up for, we can change the containers. That's not an issue. We can serve it in little glass bowls that cannot leave our establishment. The container is not a huge issue. We can adjust. We do serve meals. Like I stated, it may not be, common to Georgia, but we do serve Frito pies, which is a chili and cheese based dish that we do serve that can accompany our drinks. So we're open to whatever rules or regulations that's set forth, but the container, definitely we can change the container to fit where you can't leave with the container. That's understandable.
So Ken, does that satisfy the legal requirements if they have a separate container and if there's something saying you can't leave the premises with this in hand?
Yeah, I was just saying that the business model is stated is just not legal. That they'd be sealed and they'd be intended to be together.
Dane, if this is a restaurant, wouldn't they be required to get a restaurant license? A low volume permit was specifically designed for non-restaurant type facilities. Again, as an ancillary, she's making this a component of her business. To me, that is not the purpose of the low volume. Low volume was for like hair cutting places and, accounting firms to be able to, have pour something, with their, but this is a restaurant that's adding a component. To me, they should be getting a restaurant license, and since they're serving food, they're under the health department, to me, it sounds like a restaurant.
So
And then they would be
this
under
is-
the guidelines of a restaurant accordingly, so
Well,
hours and everything else.
The definition is set forth in the ordinance for low volume is simply a license that it's an on-premises licensee that receives or will receive wholesale deliveries of alcoholic beverages in an average amount of not more than 1,000 per month over the course of a year. So it doesn't prohibit it
Right.
under those circumstances. It's really just sets the threshold on the amount of wholesale deliveries.
Fair enough.
So Kane, what, in layman terms, so that everybody can understand, what's your name again, Ms. Natson?
Yes,
Ms.
ma'am.
Natson, what would it take for Ms. Natson to run her business with low volume alcohol on the premises?
Just that it
What would she need to do?
what she stated earlier,
Okay.
that it is served in a non-removable sort of container, and that it's very clear, in numerous places, that no alcoholic beverages may leave that premises.
Ms. Natson, are you willing to put up signs saying that no alcoholic beverages can leave the premises and make sure that they stay on the premises with the alcohol? Is that something that you're willing to adjust to?
Yes, ma'am.
Because I'm concerned about underage drinking as well, but I'm also with the prospering of businesses here in Statesboro, because I know that they are, you guys are the stability of the city. So the more small businesses we can get here, the better. But I am concerned about underage drinking as well. So, like I stated before, are you able to adjust to the changes that the lawyer has indicated?
Yes, ma'am, and we've already started making changes in preparation for this. We're hiring people that are 21 and older. My husband will be there full-time, monitoring. We plan to check all IDs and make sure that it's not being passed off by placing staff out on our deck, making sure that, we're in compliance.
So if this is passed, I'm just reiterating it because this is very serious.
Yes, ma'am.
If this is passed and I drive by it, I'm gonna see a sign that says, no alcohol shall leave the premises, in red or whatever color you choose to put it in.
Yes,
Am
ma'am.
I clear?
That's right.
Okay?
Will happen. I'm an educator, so I am
Okay.
100% on board.
Gotcha.
Well, I think the concern is that your business model to go alcohol is just not a business model that can work here
I'm
under our
sorry,
current
we
ordinance.
never said it was a to-go alcohol.
But you were talking about putting a lid on it with a piece of tape that you could then leave. So, I mean, when you describe the business model, I think all of us here were thinking, well, if you've got it sealed, well, you can walk off with it. Well, that, you can't do that here. So that's the only thing we're concerned about is that particular business model. I understand in Louisiana, it's kind of a to-go, and you can go, and certainly in downtown Savannah, and even downtown here in Statesboro, you can grab something and walk around, you know, during certain times, but down on South Main, that's just, we're not letting people out. So as long as your business model is, it's not so much the signs and everything else, but it's the business model. As long as your business model is an on-premises business model, I think that's our biggest concern. What do you guys say?
So how
Can
many-
we, as we're discussing this, what's coming to my mind, is that maybe we should table this, have Mr. and Mrs. Natson to work with staff to work out all of the kinks, and then put together the plan, and then that way staff can come back with all of the adjustments, so that we'll know up front and everybody knows what the expectations are. What I'm concerned about right now is that whichever direction this goes, I think we're walking away with some clarity. And my thought process is that if they're coming towards us today, then more than likely, there's gonna be another business to come to us, you know, in the future. So I would like to see us kind of walk, you know, kind of put this together and have a clear direction as to where we need to go, instead of making a hasty decision either way. So that's what my thought process is. I would like to see them come back with the business plan, how it's gonna work, vet it with staff, and then have them bring it back to us, and then that way we all know exactly what the expectations will be moving forward.
Don't let that discourage you though.
Yeah,
Because
that's
if
my
we
thought
voted on
process.
today and it didn't pass, that's it. So if we put it off for 2 weeks and then, you know, have another shot at it, so don't be discouraged.
Yeah. That's what my thought process is, but again, council,
I'm the same way.
council has the, you know, council involved. Okay. All right, so any further discussion by Councilwoman Barr, I believe you want to say something?
Yes. So I have mixed feelings about it, because I think this is the sort of thing that we want to encourage. We're trying to make the whole Blue Mile more walkable and more attractive, and have adults strolling along and have things for them to do. So from that vantage point, it would be nice to have something new and different that people would want to go downtown for, if we can safely separate it from the children, if we can clearly mark that you can't walk away from here while you stop here and do this, and you go down here and do something else. So yeah, I think that's a good idea, Mr. Mayor, I'm in support of the idea of asking Ms. Natson and Mr. Natson to work with the attorney and other folks in the city and come back with some more details, so we know we're approving something that can go forward and work well for other people. I'm not clear about the food requirement and alcohol, but under low volume, we don't care how much food she sells. It doesn't have to be a percentage or anything, as long as she doesn't have over a certain number of gallons or whatever a month.
That's correct. This is $1,000 of wholesale deliveries average over the course of a year.
Okay,
Yeah.
There's no food percentage requirement at all.
okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, is there a motion from council?
Need a motion to table?
Yeah.
So moved.
All right, table with the understanding that the Natsons will work with city staff?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. All right, is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Any opposed? All right.
Can I ask one thing, Kane? If you-
Yeah,
if you-
2 weeks. Okay.
Kane, the only thing I was gonna, and maybe this applies to the chief as well, but, you know, one of the biggest problems we've had with alcohol over the past 10 years is people saying they're one kind of operation, and this is not to tie you, saying they're one operation and operating differently.
Yeah.
That is the biggest problem we've had.
Yeah, hold on, Phil. Natsons, this ain't got nothing to do with you.
That's right. That's right. Now you
This is
get
some historic stuff. So.
Yeah, you guys,
Go
you
ahead.
ain't even started yet, so you couldn't do
Yeah.
nothing wrong. So, my point is how are they having, what is the reporting process on this? And how are we making sure that, again, I don't care what kind of business you are necessarily, just do what you say. If you're gonna be a restaurant, act like a restaurant. If you're gonna be a bar, act like a bar. I don't care, you know, but unfortunately, we got too many folks that try to pretend they're a little restaurant and then they're actually a late night bar, you know? And so how are we, what is the process? How are we monitoring that? Because that's, certainly you go back 10 years, that was one of the issues, is the reporting was falsified and things like this. So how are we making sure that these businesses are just doing the things that they say they're doing on their application?
The impact team over at Statesboro Police Department is primarily concerned and in charge of compliance issues. And as far as what you're concerned about are they having under this amount of deliveries?
Right.
The distributors do submit those reports to the city clerk, and for the purposes of collection of the excise tax, as well as just for information. So we do know what sort of wholesale deliveries are made to each licensee on.
We get that report from the distributors.
Right.
Yes, monthly.
And it has each client or what, a delivery or location or whatever.
Listen.
Thank you very much. Yeah, that's a much more comprehensive, and yeah, that takes the reporting out of the hands of the business owners and puts it in a much more control.
Yeah, that's not one of those situations where we request an accountant's audit. That's a different mechanism for ensuring compliance.
Oh, good, so that almost triggers automatically like an accounting thing, you can just.
Right.
Okay, cool, all right, thank you, appreciate that, that's very helpful.
All right, we'll move down to agenda item 6, consideration of a motion to approve resolution 2021-29, a resolution to accept certain real property donation from William P. Britt for parks and recreation purposes. Mr. Pinmore.
Mayor and members of the council, if you remember, probably a couple of months ago, we were approached with the idea of a donation of property by former council member Will Britt, and the property could be used for Pocket Park. We did our due diligence and had phase 1 evaluation done of the property. And after receiving the information back, staff felt very comfortable in being able to recommend to you to accept the donation of the property with the stipulations that Mr. Britt put on the donation, and it was just simply to be used as a park, but also to name it L&W Britt Park.
Okay.
And so with that, we recommend that City Council approve the resolution to accept the donation.
Okay. All right, any discussion by council?
Mr. Mayor, I wonder if Alan has anything to say about it to us, anything about the Pocket Park.
No, it's just kind of the process where we're finding little areas to clean up, to add to the value of our community, just to help. It's an opportunity anytime you can clean something up as well as add a value to it. So it's kind of fit in. We kind of landed in our lap, but we're smart enough to move with it when it comes. So that's about what it is. And we've done some other parks downtown. We'll see how it goes, but we like it.
Hardly approved the idea.
Yeah, I like cleaning it up. Yeah.
Park's good.
L&W Britt Park.
Okay.
Yes.
What L is?
That's for his wife.
I know, but do you know what the name is? It's L&W, so it doesn't matter, but I'm just curious.
Laura.
and Will.
Laura.
Laura and Will Britt, thank you.
Or is London and what is
Villa?
it?
Yeah, could be, yeah.
Chicken drink?
Yes.
That way it's either.
Yes, I think that was the intent, it could be.
Okay, delivery. Cool, thanks.
All right, is
I
that
move that
motion?
we accept. if we're ready for a
Okay.
motion.
Second.
Is all those approve?
Aye.
All right, we'll move down to agenda item 7, consideration of a motion to give local government approval to Citizens Against Violence Incorporated in its application to receive $36,900 from Emergency Solutions Grant Program for a continued operation of Safe Haven Emergency Center.
Mayor and members of the council, the Safe Haven has an opportunity to receive these grant funds, almost $37,000, but it does require local government approval. Staff does recommend the approval to council and the authorization of the mayor to execute the document on the city matter.
All right. Any discussion by council? Seeing that there's none, is there a motion to approve?
I move that we approve with hearty thanks to Safe Haven for the service they provide our folks, our
Amen.
residents.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Let's move down to agenda item 8, consideration of a motion to approve insurance renewals for property, casual, general liability insurance, and workers' compensation insurance to be awarded to the following carriers. for the upcoming year with the policies commencing on August 14, 2021. 8A is travelers insurance to provide property casualty general liability insurance in the amount of $632,071. Bitco insurance to provide workers' compensation insurance in the amount of $377,389. And VFIS insurance to provide property and equipment insurance in the amount of $64,821. Mr. Penny, if you can give us some insight on this.
Mayor, obviously, in the world that we live in today, we can't operate without general liability insurance. And this is the third year, will be the third year of our contract. And so that, we recommend that we move forward with this. We are seeing an increase in cost of about $102,000 between all three different insurances. But it's something that, as a municipality, we can't operate without. And so we do recommend the award of the bids that you've outlined to us.
Okay. Any discussion by council? All right, seeing that there is none, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, we'll move down to agenda item 9, consideration of a motion to award a contract for probation services to Judicial Alternatives in Georgia for a 1-year term with the option to renew for 2 additional 1-year terms. Mr. King.
Kane.
Okay.
Mayor and Council, we currently use Judicial Alternatives of Georgia to do our probation services in the municipal court. They not only see probationers, but they see people who are enrolled in our pretrial diversion program. They provide supervision for those people as well. We did a request for proposals. The 2 submissions we got were JAG and CSRA. The main difference between the 2 is the amount charged monthly to the probationers or people on pretrial diversion. JAG submitted a supervision fee of $35 a month, and CSRA presented one of $40 a month. So, and being such, the difference there in the fact that we already are with JAG, that's why we're recommending that we move forward on this 3-year renewal contract with JAG to provide those services in municipal court.
Okay. Any discussion by council?
I have a question. I hear about how it's such a burden on folks who are trying to get back into society to keep up with all the fees. Are the fees set? I hear that we're going with the lower one as a recommendation, which sounds good. But are there state limits set on that? Is there some regulation? Educate me about that.
There's not. But 35 is fairly low on the scale. Typically what you see is somewhere in the 35 to 45 range. And for those that are put on probation, there is an additional $9 Georgia Crime Information Center, GCIC fee on it. But that's pretty standard, and what we put into our contracts is for people that are on pretrial diversion or probation, they can pay those supervision or probation fees via community service as well, and that trades out at $7.25 an hour. We do the same with any sort of fees imposed as well. There's always going to be, that conversion is automatically there. So, our take on it is that most people have time or money, but very few people have both. And so that's why we trade out and allow that to happen.
Thank you. Glad to hear that. Thank you.
Any further discussion by council? Good. Okay. With that being said, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
We move down to agenda item 10. It's consideration of a motion to approve change order 18 with Labrador and Associates Incorporated in the amount of $37,129 for the Louetta Moore Park and Great Street Park Improvements Project, and authorize the mayor to execute contract document amendments. Is there any insight you can give us, Mr. Penn?
Yeah, Mayor and Council, with this, we're obviously toward the end of at least the Louetta Moore Park. But one of the observations that came from Parks and Recreation, and we agree with them, with the decorative fencing around the pool. If you notice, around the majority of it, you have the fence is 8 feet high. But in the front section and by the spray ground, that's just a 6-foot fence. And so in order to deter anyone from after-hour swimming, we do recommend the installation of the change out of those front panels to be decorative. But again, it takes it from the 6 feet to the 8 feet, so that the mayor and I could scale the current fence.
I got $20 to see that.
I'll give $20, yes.
I'll donate it to charity right now.
Don't try the mayor. But we could scale that fence, but that extra 2 feet would prevent us from trying to do that.
That's right.
So we do recommend that change order too.
All right, thank you, Mr. Payne. Any discussion by council?
Were either of y'all pole vaulters in high school?
No.
I'm trying to keep our feet on the ground.
Good deal. All right, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. We'll move down to agenda item 11, other business from city council. Is there any other business from city council?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to share information about upcoming pop-up vaccination clinic sites.
Yes.
As we know, there are many among us who are still not vaccinated. That's why so many people who are vaccinated are wearing their mask again in public, because the CDC has decided that even those of us who are vaccinated can get a low enough dose to infect other people. So we're wearing our masks to protect others and not take it home to children who can't get it yet. But 3 opportunities upcoming here in Statesboro. Of course, you can go anytime to Walmart, to CVS. There are a lot of local people that have the vaccine. It's widely accessible. But they also, places that will have the Pfizer, which is the one that 12-year-olds and older can get with parental permission. If a parent or guardian takes the child to get the vaccine, even children can get Pfizer now. And those will be available at 3 upcoming places. They're available now at a couple of places, but you can get them on weekends. August the 14th, Chamber of Commerce location over next to Ag South on South Main and Vine, where they have the back to school event. They'll have a follow-up, so people who got a vaccine there can get their second shot. So there'll be one there on August 14. August 21, I don't have a lot of details. The mayor may have more, but the Youth Commission is working on an event over at the new Louetta Moore Park and intend to have a pop-up site there as well, where children can be vaccinated. That'll be August 21, and then there'll be a follow-up on that on September 11, 2 weeks later, so the kids who get a vaccine, children or adults, any age can get it. But anybody who gets one on the 21st can go back there on the 11th to get their second shot. Because as we know, Pfizer and Moderna are the 2-shot series. You get one, 3-4 weeks later, you get the other. You can also get Johnson & Johnson, it's the 1-shot, one and done. So again, I encourage folks, if you haven't yet, to go get your vaccine to protect yourself and other people. If you are vaccinated, wear your mask to protect other people, particularly the vulnerable and the children among us, who can get it, can get sick, and have died in Georgia. Thank you.
Okay. Anything else from council?
Anybody?
Okay.
This is for Chief Broadhead. Yeah, we were talking about alcohol and underage alcohol checks. I just wanted to, and I didn't realize that they were done only by the impact team. You know, our stings, I guess you could call them, or underage sales checks.
Compliance checks.
Compliance checks. How many of those would you say we've done in the last 18 months?
Mayor and Council, so we do those minimum quarterly, and what we do is we take 25% of the alcohol licensed businesses randomly every quarter for a check. For those who fail a compliance check, they go back into the mix to be mandatorily checked again in the same calendar year. That way, every alcohol business in the city gets checked at least once a year, and those who struggle with compliance get checked multiple times.
Just for anyone who's curious, how have those checks turned out in the last 18 months?
I can send you guys a report on it if you'd like, with some specific details. We have had some 2, 3, 4 failures I know that the city attorney is involved in those because they go to the city's administrative judge for, some recommendation on their licensing outside of any criminal charges that are generated by the sale. So, I don't know, it seems like when I see those, there's 4 or 5 businesses that seem accurate about every quarter or so that have to go. So we're having somewhere 10, 12 failures a year of compliance probably.
Thank you. Yes, I'd like to see those,
Sure.
those updates.
And Chief, just a follow-up, your checks, that's irrespective of the Department of Revenue that also does checks, right?
That's correct. Our checks generally are, well, we don't do them in association with the state at all. They
No.
do their own thing. And ours generally are underage checks.
But, yeah, so the Department of Revenue, I would say they probably are here at least a couple of times a year, right? And
Minimum.
but they don't tell you, they come in anonymous, I mean, sometimes they come into town and they're gone, and you don't even know they're here.
That's right. And they do some checks that we don't really do, like they do inventory checks at package stores that we're just not involved in that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other business from council? Okay. I do want to make a statement in regards to 2 things. I want to send a big kudos to John Lavender and the teams that's putting together these parks. They've done a phenomenal job. We had a very rainy summer, but they still managed to work extremely hard. And the good thing about that is that those were local businesses that was putting those parks together for our children. So the more opportunities that we have to put local businesses and local citizens to work, we definitely want to embrace that. So we're super excited about that. We had our ribbon cutting this past weekend. And I would really like to tell you how many people showed up for that, but I have no idea. It was so many people there. And it was just a beautiful experience to see the families and the young people playing again within our community. And it's bringing so much life back. I'm just excited about the continued effort to strengthen our parks across the city and what that's doing for our overall community as well. And studies have shown that communities with strong social infrastructure like parks have a higher quality of life, and we want Statesboro to be one of those communities. But I say that in the shadow of where we are today with COVID-19. We've been saying from day one, COVID is real. And we have to put all of our politics aside, all of our conspiracy theories aside, and we got something at hand that we must deal with. And COVID-19 does not carry anything about any belief you may have, what little barrier you may put up to divide you from another human being. COVID-19 does not care about that. It is affecting us all. And so for those of us that shows our allegiance to those individuals in our community that's most vulnerable, the best thing that you can do is get vaccinated. If you are passionate about supporting law enforcement and first responders, the best thing you can do is get vaccinated. If you support small business and growing small business, the best thing you can do is get vaccinated. If you love this country, get vaccinated, because this thing is hurting us, and the long-term effects of this I shudder to think about. We must act as one. This is a common enemy that we have that is attacking our country and its people, and we must do what we need to do to combat this virus. We cannot keep living off of the greatness of that greatest generation that stormed the beaches of Normandy and talk about how much we love this country if we won't wear a mask for our country. We have to get real. We got 27 people in the hospital right now with COVID-19. 5 of them are on ventilators. Ladies and gentlemen, we have to do what we have to do. So when you come into City Hall, yes, we're gonna ask you to wear a mask. Yes, we're gonna take your temperature. Yes, we're gonna ask you where you're going. Because if you come in and we get the virus in here, we need to know where it came from. And if you was to pick it up while you were here, we need to be able to contact you and let you know that you've been exposed. To date, we've had 60 employees to contract COVID-19. We are trying to protect you. 60, okay? Out of 310 employees, we've had 60. So please, 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 let's do what's safe. Let's be logical and reasonable about this thing, and let us all know that we're in this fight together. I do want to thank everyone that's doing all of their parts to try to keep the community safe by sharing information, wearing their masks, those special individuals that's setting up vaccination opportunities and distributing masks and doing their part. But this is an all of us thing, and that's the only way we're going to navigate it. So with that being said, let's keep our entire community in prayer. And let's make sure we do what it takes for us to be able to get past this, because 15, 16, 17 months of this is long enough. We've done this long enough. Let's get rid of it. With that.
Hey, City Man. Charles, I mean, these pop-up vaccination sites, I mean, you know that the public vaccinations don't get a whole lot of traffic. Is there some way that we can contract with somebody to, I don't know, set up a room somewhere in City Hall or somewhere downtown where we can, provide another opportunity for vaccines? I know, Sherry, you say like CVS and Walgreens have the vaccine, but I looked over the weekend and there were no vaccines in town. So, we had to, now there were no vaccines that day. I had to go the next day. So, and then the provider also told me that they were running out of shots. So I don't know if the demand is peaked and we just don't have that many, but is there some way we could do or look into that, the possibility of maybe providing an avenue here through City Hall to give vaccinations to those who might be, maybe they just can't get online and go to see, because CVS, you have to book it online. To get your test next door, you gotta book it online, I mean, not everybody has the ability to book online, so maybe being able to call the city and come get a vaccine, that would be an option.
Let us check. We have done, and when we did this for our city employees, we did a couple of vaccinations right here in council chambers.
Right.
But if we want to look at going beyond our city employees, we'll need to check with the provider to see if that's a possibility. But I advocate that we do whatever we need to do to make it as convenient as we can, to try to get our numbers up.
But I mean, the school kids, part of the problem they have with online was that so many kids didn't have access to broadband. So if the kids don't have access to broadband, what makes us think that the adults and the grandparents have access to broadband? So it seems to me that being able to provide that somehow through here, maybe even if it's just one day a week or.
Let us check and we'll report.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
That's a good idea, Councilman Boyman. I would also like to see the city make it more available to people. I do want to correct one thing though. We did have a tapering off of people showing up at the vaccine pop-up clinics like the grocery stores. We didn't have as many adults as we had hoped getting vaccines. But the event over that the chamber put on, the back to school event, we had 40 people show up in 3 hours and get vaccinated.
Awesome.
So there is a need out there for parents to know where they can safely take their children to be vaccinated. And hopefully as more concern grows, the Delta variant is in Bullock County, people. We've had more people die in the last month because of that. It's highly contagious, and people who have been vaccinated are getting sick. A friend of mine who was vaccinated 6 months ago is isolated at home now because Walmart, no telling where. So I urge you, any place you go that you don't know everybody's vaccinated, wear your mask. So when you go out in public, we're here this morning with our mask on because most of us are vaccinated, but we don't want to take it home to somebody who isn't or can't be. The children are the vulnerable. They're the ones I'm really concerned for everybody, but particularly trying to protect the children who can't be vaccinated yet. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Penny, any city manager comments?
Yes, Mayor, several items, but to go along with your comment, as far as the number of city employees that have been impacted by COVID, and not just those that have tested positive, but any exposure that we've had, we've incurred a cost of about $154,000 in lost labor for people having to be isolated until they were cleared. So yeah, it is real. And so we are requiring city employees to wear masks in the building when they're meeting with folks, even if they have been vaccinated. And checking the numbers, we're still at 26% in Bullock County that have been vaccinated. We're at 29% that have had one vaccination. And so we are well behind, we're well behind our country. Our country's at 70% with at least one vaccination. We're at 50% with both vaccinations. So our county is well behind. As far as COVID testing is concerned, currently we have the testing location right here on Railroad, next to Railroad Street. They have extended the testing period through the end of the year. At one point, we were talking about whether they need to be testing at all, and now they're saying they're going through the end of the year. They were averaging 10 a week or 10 a day. They're up to 55 tests a day. So COVID is rearing its head in our community. So want to share that, especially we had a citizen that felt like we were acting as if we were in China or Venezuela by asking questions when they came into our building. And as the mayor said, and so eloquently, we're just trying to keep everybody safe, our citizens and our employees. Mayor and Council, I did want to let you know that we're going to be bringing to you next week fire equipment acquisition, but I need to let you know that we had 2 fire trucks that are in our CIP. Going to cost about $1 million, but we were able to piggyback with another community so we can avoid a price increase. And we recognize it right now, inflation is real as well. We're seeing a cost increase, but last week we had to send a letter of intent to do a piggyback purchase in order to be able to lock in the current prices. So just want to make you aware that we did make that commitment. And then let's see. The Grady Street Park, again, we're hoping by the end of August. I saw equipment was being dropped off. I think that was the playground equipment. And so I assume we still want to have a similar celebration when Grady Street Park is completed, and we'll plan accordingly to get that done.
Okay. Thank you. We move to public comments. Liv?
Yes, Marcus Toole signed up.
Thank you.
Greetings, Mayor, Council, Statesboro. I'm actually coming with some, I want to give you all a big thank you, but I'll just pass this down. What I'm handing out is the results of a survey Habitat Bullock did in partnership with the DSDA and the Blue Mile Committee back in 2017. This particular document was the PDF was made for public distribution on April of 2017. We did a survey of the area of Statesboro downtown, or the neighborhood just west of South Main Street, between South Main Street and Institute Street, and between Michael Street and Bullock Street. So that's the area we did, which is part of now that neighborhood targeted for revitalization is part of the much larger Johnson Street neighborhood in terms of the current revitalization effort. We did a survey to find out what concerns people had that they wanted the city to address. It was a two-part survey. The first part was just to get a list of concerns, and then we narrowed it down to the 6 things that came up the most that are actionable items. In other words, I don't like my neighbor is not an actionable item. And then we went back and got this the second survey, which is this one, where we asked the community to prioritize them. I'm bringing this to your attention now because since 2017, the City of Statesboro and particularly City Council has acted on every single item, and most of them are nearing completion. So for instance, one of the highest items of priority was vacant and abandoned buildings. Well, most of the vacant and abandoned houses in that neighborhood have been pulled down, and vacant and abandoned buildings are being removed all over Statesboro. Cleanup and beautification. Since that time, Keep Statesboro Beautiful is formed, and the neighborhood is getting cleaned up on a regular basis by volunteers. The next item was a public pool at Luetta Park. The pool opened this week. The next item was playgrounds and youth activities. Well, the 2 new parks both have playgrounds added to them, and the county's committed to bringing youth activities to these parks. The next one is sidewalks and street lights. Those are West Jones Street has been sidewalk. Other streets in that area are scheduled to be sidewalk, and lights are going in as we talk about, as we speak. And the final item is public transportation, and as best as I understand, the first, we're just waiting on the buses to arrive. They've already been purchased. So, congratulations, City Council. Thank you for doing what the neighborhood asked for you to do. And I want to also say to the City of Statesboro, anyone who may be listening to my voice, this is the reason why you participate in these kind of surveys. This is why you get active in community and make your wishes, desires, and concerns known to public officials. Because when you do it, doesn't necessarily mean you get everything you want right away. But no one can act on anything you want until they know that you want it. And so, and in this case, the city acted on every single item that was listed as a priority. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And front page of the paper, Citizen Thanks Council.
Re-election campaign start.
Yeah.
Can I use this on my Facebook?
I know, right? Yeah. There you go. Thank you, Mark.
You all are welcome to use it however you wish.
All right.
Any other public comments, Leah?
No, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. We'll move on to agenda item 14, consideration of a motion to enter into executive session to discuss personnel matters, real estate, and/or potential litigation in accordance with OCGA 50-14-3B. Is there a motion to enter into executive session? So. Is there a second? Second. All those in favor?
All right.
What?